This is a time set for a status conference and an omnibus hearing in the matter of iCap Enterprises, Inc., case number 23-01243. On the line on behalf of the debtors, we have Julian Garuli.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Khaled Tarazi.
Good morning, Your Honor.
And Dakota Pierce.
Good morning, Your Honor.
On behalf of the Creditors Committee, we have Jake Kornfeld.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Assistant U.S. Trustee Gary Dyer.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Vadim Rubenstein on behalf of Serene Investment Management, LLC.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Darren Pratley on behalf of Redmond Funding Group, LLC. Lance Miller.
Morning, Your Honor.
With Paladin. Lance Miller with Paladin Management Group. John Ducey on behalf of Anthony DSO. And also joining the line is his client, Anthony DSO.
Good morning, Your Honor.
On behalf of creditors Sue, we have Paul Retta and Jeffrey Wayne.
Good morning, Your Honor.
And Jesse Baker on behalf of Wilmington Savings Fund.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Is there anyone else on this call that I did not identify? Thank you. This hearing is being recorded. Please proceed.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today and have had a good transition into 2024. We have a relatively straightforward docket today. There aren't any motions or applications pending before the court. I did review the status conference report that the debtors filed yesterday, which gave a pretty quick and I think on direct and on point summary of where things are at in terms of, I saw there was a further draw on the debt financing facility and then a summary of the status of matters relating to the debtors' ongoing investigation efforts as well as the recently filed motion to sell 2 properties. I think the main thing we need to do today is just cover the scheduling matter that the debtors raised at the very end of the status report, but I'd be happy to hear from Mr. Gooley if you'd like to give just a general update on anything beyond what's in the status report, and then, of course, if any of the parties on the phone would like to raise anything with the court today, I'd be happy to hear from you. So, Mr. Gooley.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, Julian Garuli for the debtors. Your Honor, firstly, Happy New Year. I hope you and your family and the court staff had a pleasant holiday season. Your Honor, we don't have much to add beyond the status report, and actually today for the status conference, my colleague Khaled Tarazi is going to be handling it, so I'll hand over the telephonic podium to him if it's fine with the court.
Well, of course. Thank you, Mr. Gooley, and please go ahead, Mr. Cross, if you'd like to add anything or address anything.
Thank you, Your Honor. Khaled Tarazi on behalf of the debtors. And no, nothing to add. We tried to put everything in the status report that is, really to give people an update of where we're at and where we're going. And you're correct that really the only issue we have from our perspective to cover today is the housekeeping issue, the scheduling issue with respect to the sale motion that was filed last Friday. So unless Your Honor had any other questions, that's really the only item that we have to take care of today.
Okay. I don't. Thank you, Mr. Tarazi. Before we get to just the housekeeping cleanup, is there anything else anyone on the phone would like to address this morning?
Your Honor, Jake Kornfeld representing the Unsecured Creditors Committee. I just want to echo that we are working, the committee has been working closely with the debtors and their counsel on the various matters under investigation. There's been a significant amount of work done at both the debtor level and the committee level. The parties are cooperating very productively in terms of how to pursue and begin to move to a recovery activity in the case. And I know that's in part where Mr. Garuli and his firm are moving this discussion. So just want to give the court that understanding that the committee is actively involved, deeply involved in, and also appreciative of the cooperative spirit in the case.
Thank you, Mr. Kornfeld. I appreciate that, and certainly it does seem like the cases are going very, very smoothly. I've said in a couple of other Chapter 11 cases, and I don't think I can take credit for coming up with the metaphor, but I'm happy to recycle it, I guess, is, a large Chapter 11 case is always kind of like an iceberg where the court only ever sees the portion of the iceberg that's above the water line, but there's a lot going on beneath the surface, and I have no doubt that's true in this instance, but I'm pleased to hear things have been proceeding very smoothly. So thanks, Mr. Kornfeld.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to be heard this morning? Okay, so, I'm sorry, please go ahead.
Apologize. This is Attorney Jeffrey Wang for a creditor. Your Honor, in view of that the debtors included the iCap information as one of the parties to this Chapter 11 matter. We are trying to ascertain what the new deadline to file adversarial proceedings against any, should I say, like entity in this Chapter 11 matter?
You're asking about the deadline for your client to pursue an adversary, or there's a general 2-year statute of limitations that applies to the debtors if the debtors would like to sue any third parties to recover funds or other property that was transferred before the petition date, either as preferential transfers or fraudulent transfers or otherwise avoidable transactions. That 2-year period generally runs with respect to each debtor from its petition date under Section 546 of the Bankruptcy Code. But does that help answer the question, or are you asking about pursuing litigation against the debtors?
Yes, Your Honor. The reason we are making that inquiry is because, according to the court docket, there's a deadline when the original petition is being filed. That's before they added the iCap International Investment as an entity in this case. That docket entry comes with, I think it's January 18th deadline. That's why we are respectfully making this inquiry to make sure that's not the deadline to file adversarial proceedings in this matter. Thank you, counsel. I'm not tracking immediately. That may be, I know there had been a bar date for filing proofs of claim against the debtors that was originally set in some of the cases. The court has vacated that bar date, and the debtors have not yet requested resetting a further bar date. I'm not sure if you're referring to a different January 18th date, though, so maybe Mr. Crosby and Mr. Gooley could help address the question.
Your Honor, Cal. Yeah, go ahead.
For the record, Julian Gooley, Your Honor. Your Honor, I encourage this claimant to contact me or Mr. Tarazi after the hearing, and I think we could maybe offline answer some of his questions. I would say it seems like we've maybe focused on the bar dates that were vacated by the court a couple of weeks ago, but I'm candidly not sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Wang, if you could reach out to Mr. Gooley or Mr. Crosby by email or phone, I'm sure they'll be happy to help discuss with you. I'm just not crystal clear off the top of my head which date you're referring to, but there's not, insofar as I'm aware, any date this month that would preclude anyone from pursuing an adversary proceeding against the debtor. I did enter a stipulation extending the deadline for the SEC to bring an action to determine that certain debts may be non-dischargeable. I'm not sure these cases will end up being cases where these business debtors receive a discharge in any event. But please do reach out to counsel offline, and hopefully they'll be able to get everything straightened out for you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Would anyone else on the phone like to be heard about anything today? Okay, so let's just to touch on the scheduling. We do have another omnibus hearing scheduled for Tuesday, January 23rd at 10:30 a.m., where I don't believe we presently have anything set for that hearing. So, Mr. Trozzi, if January 30th at, say, 2 o'clock p.m. that afternoon on Tuesday works, I'd propose just continuing and striking the date on the 23rd, resetting that for 2 o'clock p.m. on the 30th, and then if the debtors need to set a hearing on the pending sale motion that afternoon, you can do so. If there's anything else that comes up, we can use that date and move the 23rd. And then we can also just touch base on the 30th about future omnibus hearing dates. I don't believe I've set dates yet for February and beyond. My inclination at this point is to just have one preset date a month. I think early on we didn't know how active the cases were being. It's my general sense is that we haven't really needed 2 dates a month. So subject to something changing, we probably just need one February, March, April, and say May date. But we can circle back on that at the end of the month. So would January 30th at 2 o'clock p.m. work?
Yes, Your Honor. Khaled Shirazi on behalf of the debtors. That works for us, and we were going to suggest to vacate the 23rd, the hearing on the 23rd, and move it to the 30th. That way, Your Honor, what our intention is with the objection deadline to the sales expiring on the 29th, in the morning on the 30th, we would ideally be able to, lodge an order, but we could still have a status conference in the afternoon if date does not, if that hearing does not need to be related to the sale.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Trozzi. That makes sense. I think we should just have a status conference just to touch base about where things are at, and then briefly chat about scheduling in February and beyond. So, okay, we will make that change to the calendar, and again, just so the record's clear, we will effectively continue the January 23rd status conference to January 30th at 2 o'clock p.m., and if there is any opposition filed to the sale motion that the debtors filed last week, that matter will be heard the afternoon of January 30th at 2 o'clock p.m. All right. Anything further today from the debtors? Mr. Trozzi?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further from anyone else in phone? All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for your time today, and again, for your efforts in this case. As I said earlier, it seems to be going very smoothly from the court's perspective, and we will speak again with everyone on January 30th at 2 o'clock p.m. Thank you all. Have a great rest of the day. We're adjourned.
Thank you.